Yeah, good morning. So this is batch M1. Yeah, started on 1st of Feb. So you have been introduced to some of the subjects like polity, one class of each, right? Polity, geography, one class, right? So today we will start with another segment of geography. So myself, MD Rizwan, I am faculty for geography, optional and general studies, and I'll be taking one segment, rather two segments of your general studies geography part. So one will be a part of world physical geography, that will be geomorphology or study of landforms, and second is Indian physical geography. Okay? We'll follow an integrated approach for this segment. Rather, for entire geography, you should have an integrated approach, wherein, see, syllabus as such is not specified for the prelims and mains. There is no segregation provided by UPSC that this is a particular chapter which is there for the prelims exam or particular chapter for the mains exam. So when you are preparing for general studies geography, you should prepare in an integrated manner. Integrated in the sense you should combine for both prelims and mains. Okay? Means you should also look at, can I write 150 to 200 words for that particular topic if the question is framed in the mains exam. Objective questions, yes. We can identify certain topics which are more pertaining to prelims or objective questions. Okay? Now, as far as your syllabus of geography is concerned, we will divide geography into two major parts. There are two major divisions of geography. As such, we'll see first the syllabus part here. So, general studies geography is divided into two major portions or two major segment. This will be, first is physical. This is physical geography, and second is human geography, right? So what is physical geography? Physical geography is about a study of natural landscape in the sense what is present on the surface of the earth, which is in natural form, which has evolved in a natural way. Natural processes have contributed in the evolution of these entities, that will be considered as a physical geography. So here we can say it can be the study of land, or it is water or air, right? In this way, we are having three branches of the physical geography, like study of all those features which are the part of land, which are composed of rocks. This will be the study of landforms, right? This is the study of landform. This is known as geomorphology. Geomorphology is the study of landforms. Means here we are focusing on all those features which belong to the surface of the earth but composed of what? Rocks. That are composed of rock, that we study in geomorphology. Then water. So this is geomorphology is about studying landform. This will be referred as, this study is of which sphere? Lithosphere. I am giving first basic things. Geomorphology focuses on the lithosphere. Then it is water, study of water in different form. We know that the highest concentration of water, this will be in the form of oceans, right? And this constitute a major segment of hydrosphere, and this will be referred as oceanography. So one chapter we got, this is geomorphology. The second one is oceanography. This is about the hydrosphere. And the third one, this is about air. Air is envelope of gases. This will be referred as atmosphere. And here is the climatology, right? This is climatology. This is your third chapter in world physical geography. So we are primarily classifying geography into two parts, physical and human. Now both are there. This constitute the fundamental topics for both GS as well as optional students, right? In optional also, those who are opting for geography, this will be your foundation of physical geography in paper 1, right? So three segments. Now what about human, or what is conclusion of uh, physical geography? Physical geography is focusing on natural landscapes, right? The focus of physical geography is on natural landscape that are evolved along with the evolution of the earth. As earth has evolved, these things kept on changing. The landform has evolved, oceans have evolved, and atmosphere also has evolved. This will be referred as natural landscape. Now what about human geography? Human geography, the focus of human geography is on human landscape. Human landscape. Now what is a human landscape? They say city is a human landscape, agriculture is a human landscape, industry is a human landscape, mine is a human landscape, road and flyovers are human landscape, tunnels are the human landscape, right? So what is human landscape? Means man-made feature. All those things which are created by man's interaction with the surface of the earth, this will be treated as human landscape, and this will be the subject matter of human geography, right? Now here understand that these are basic things, right? Don't expect a question, but to start the subject we are looking at these things. So human landscape is about man's, it is the outcome of human interaction with the surface of the earth, and what is causing the human interaction with the surface of the earth is the human needs, right? It is the need that will make man to interact with the surface of the earth. Like need is food, so man is plowing the soil. You have agriculture. Need is to connect from one location to other. He is making a road. That will be again transportation system, right? Need is certain minerals. So he is extracting, and that is resulting in mining, right? So need is the main factor that determine how man is going to interact with the environment, and how our needs of man are they static? No, needs of man are dynamic, needs are changing, and what is causing these changes in the need is, first, the needs of humans are determined by population, character of the population, right? How much is the population of that region? That is going to determine the need. This will be studied as, demography. So what is demography? It is a branch of human geography. जैसे हमने physical geography का branching देखा है, physical geography is divided into three, that is geomorphology, climatology and oceanography. Now we are looking at what is a branching of human geography. First one is demography. Now when you have people will have a population is always characterized by language, or it is characterized by religion, or certain set of beliefs, traditions, customs, etc., right? All these make that population unique, correct? A population of one particular area is appearing unique because of language, religion, belief, tradition and customs, right? This appears to be a single entity. This appears with a certain bond. People are bonded together because of this factor, and this constitute a cultural, this is a cultural geography. So what is culture? Culture is primarily a combination of language and religion. Language and religion combinedly is known as culture. Where religion may not be well established, we'll say it is the belief system, set of belief, tradition and custom. This also constitute the culture. Okay. Then third, when you have population and culture, obviously this population is sustaining in that region because it is dependent on some resource, right? There are some resources. Okay? A population that is settled on the bank of river, population which is settled on the plains, population in the forest. Now, when the population has survived, right, very crude, we will say population has survived, it has survived because there is availability of some resource. Rather, we can say the distribution of the population itself is based on availability of resources. More is the resource, more will be the population. That is why highest densities of population we find in the areas of fertile soils, right, where there is availability of water, flat topography, right. So it is a physical factor that supports the population. So resources, how these resources are distributed, we say distribution of resource, right, distribution of resource, and it is about utilization of the resources, distribution and utilization of resource. This will be known as economic, this is referred as economic geography. Now what is difference between economics and economic geography? In economics we focus on what? Output, right? जैसे economics में क्या रहेगा? In economics we talk about GDP, GNP, right? Per capita income. ये क्या है? Outcome है. This is the outcome of what? Outcome of utilization. But how is the availability of resource? What type of resources are available? What type of resources are linked with particular geographical condition, right? This we study as a part of economic geography. Means we are attaching a locational identity to the resource. Okay? So utilization of the resources through what type of activities? The utilization will be through primary or secondary or tertiary activities. So economic geography is focusing on how these activities are organized on the world map, right? Given the world map, you should be able to identify what type of agriculture is practiced in which regions of the world, right? So if I say agriculture of Europe, okay, it will have some character. Agriculture of South China, it is having some character. Agriculture of India, in India also we have agriculture of South India and agriculture of North India. There is a difference, right? So we are trying to differentiate these activities, that will be referred as economic geography. So when you say demography, we study population and age structure. When it is culture, we study uniqueness of the population. Economic geography, our focus is on agriculture, industry, transportation, right? This type of activities from one part of the world to other. Now, when it is population, culture and resource, the population will be organized. How is the distribution of the population? This also depends on resource, it depends on activities. Now you say agriculture is the activity, the distribution of the population will be scattered. Cattle rearing is an activity, the distribution of the population is scattered. When it is secondary activity, the population will get concentrated. What you get here, depending on the resources, we are getting village, town, city, or it is the metro city. How we differentiate? Village का मतलब क्या है? More majority of the population depend on what? Primary. जैसे activity change होगा, you will find the size of this settlement, these are known as settlements, will change, right? This study is referred as the settlement. This will be referred as settlement geography. Our focus on in settlement geography is to understand how is the distribution of these places of dwelling, right? They say somewhere far in region of Ladakh, there will be a group of some 5 or 10 houses, right? This will be referred as, what is this? This is referred as hamlet. अब ये थोड़ा सा organize हो जाएगा. This is like 100 houses, right? This will be known as a village. There are some 2000 houses. This will be known as town, right? There are some 1 lakh houses. This will be considered as a city. In this way, as the number goes on increasing, the population will change or settlement will change, and economic activities also will change, right? So population determines settlement, correct? Resources determine settlement, and can we say even there is a cultural identity to the settlement? Yes or no? Yes. Cultural identity to the settlement. Some settlements, some places are identified as a cultural centers, right? Because of the religious activities taken up in that region, right? So where there is a places of religious importance, right? Such cities have grown around the places of religious importance. This is considered, religious activities can be considered as important in growth of that particular city or town, right? So we have like Tirupati or recent Ayodhya. The growth of such cities, right, will be determined by religious activities. So culture has an influence on settlement. All the aspects of settlements are determined by culture. So what is this? Any area that has its population, that has its culture, that has its own resource, that has its settlement identity. Settlement identity मतलब एक capital होगा या कोई large city है, right? And because of this, what is happening? All these 4 features are binding that particular area or binding the population of that region together, area together, and in this way that area starts appearing different from what? Surrounding, and this will be a concept of what? Region, right? A region is born. What is a region? Region means any area that has a centripetal force. Centripetal means binding force, right? And this binding can be because of its particular character of the population, maybe in terms of a race, particular culture, maybe because of certain type of language, belief system, or caste system, or it can be because of dialect of a language. It is because of settlement, one particular city, or it is a kind of economic activity that is practiced in that region. There is a birth of a region, and the study of a region is referred as what? Regional geography. So regional geography is about a region. And what is region? An area that has a unique identity which can be differentiated from surrounding is considered as a region. Okay. So what we have learned here, human geography is further classified into 5 major, is demography, cultural geography, economic geography, settlement geography, and region or regional geography, right? Now a person belonging to this region, right? So this is a individual X, right, who belongs to this region, and there is one more person here, this is Y, who belongs to some other region R2, right? One more person is Z, who belongs to region R1. So R1, X and Z, they belong to belong to R1 and Y is belonging to R2. Now, when these three individuals are interacting with each other, where is greater possibility that there is more interaction? More interaction will be between what? X and Z, right? So X interacting with Y has a kind of barrier, right? What barrier is having? That Y is not belonging to my place, right? When X is interacting with Z, he there is a natural trust, because he feels that a person who belongs to my place, right, is with my culture, he is aware about customs and traditions of that place, and this type of feeling when the people are having about their places, this will be referred as, what is this? This will be referred as regionalism. What is regionalism? It is a sense of belongingness, sense of attachment that the people have towards their own places, right? People are having the sense of attachment, sense of belongingness towards their own place, and this is going to affect how people are interacting with each other in a society on a day-to-day basis. This will be referred as regionalism. So regionalism is both the force of integration and force of diversification. Write this point. sense of belongingness that people sense of belongingness that people have towards their places, is referred as regionalism, This is the force of integration, and differentiation. Force of integration and differentiation. It has influence on social interaction. Right? Now you have a strong sense of regionalism. Now this can be because of sometimes due to what? Culture, language, which makes it very strong. This you can see the strong sense of regionalism prevails in South Indian states, like Andhra, Telangana, where you have Dravidian languages. Okay? So where if a North Indian goes to that place and you don't have or you don't know about that language, now the people will identify this person as an alien, or he is belonging to some other area. If you are able to, whatever you are coming from, if you are able to speak that language, what happens? They will feel that this individual belongs to that place, right? This is nothing but a sense of regionalism prevailing. Agar ye regionalism overrides the national identity, what will happen? If regionalism becomes very strong, this will result in separatist tendency, and there will be demand for what? Separate state. The emergence of most of the state in India is after particularly 90s. This is the product of, or even after independence, this is the product of regionalism. Just say Madras presidency was divided into Andhra and Tamil Nadu. It is Telugu speaking and Tamil speaking population. Now again in Andhra there was a movement for separate Telangana, right? People of Telangana felt that though the language is same, right, but there is a difference in dialect of Telugu which is spoken in Telangana and Andhra. People of Telangana felt that they are culturally different, right? Their food habits are different, their festivals are different, right? So in this way, there was a movement for separation of the state which got materialized in 2014, right? So in this way, now also we can see there are several demands for the new states in India. All these demands are because of regionalism, and we are saying that regionalism can be a product of these four factors or combination of these factors. It can be either because of difference of population or culture, language, dialect of language. Like you say Eastern UP and Western UP, a dialect of language will be different, right? So this is considered as regional. When you study such differences on the surface of the earth, this will be referred as a regional geography. So here we have identified what is the difference between the physical and human geography. So we can write here the physical geography is representing a physical environment. Correct? Physical geography represents physical environment. What is physical environment? It consists of three spheres: lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere, and this will be referred as biosphere, right? This you are aware. Lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere, and the interaction of the three is known as biosphere. Okay? So this biosphere is a physical environment. So physical environment constitutes land, water and air. This will be a physical environment. We'll designate it as E, right? Physical environment E, which is non-living. Okay? What about human geography? Human geography is about what? About man, right? It is about man and ability of the man to alter this physical environment. Man here means it is about the human landscape, right? This is about a human landscape. So we'll write it as M, right? Human geography represents man and ability of the man to modify the natural environment, while physical geography is representing physical environment, non-living environment. Then what is a geography? Geography is the study of relationship between man and environment. This is considered as anthropocentric view of geography, right? Anthropocentric view means we are studying the subject looking at what? Identity of man, right? In the discipline, whatever is done in geography, this will be finally benefiting what? Humans. Geography should benefit man, yes or no? The subject is important only when it benefits people. So that is referred as anthropocentric, right? Anthropocentric approach in geography. Note there, the modern perspective of geography, right? Modern perspective of geography is anthropocentric. That is understanding relationship between man and environment. Understanding relationship between man and environment, and finding solutions to human problems. Next point. Geography also deals with balancing relationship balancing relationship between man and environment. Balancing relationship between man and environment. Right. Now see, what is anthropocentric? So we say surface of the earth consists of man and environment, right? Man and environment. So what is a tendency of man? Tendency of man is to fulfill his needs, right? Fulfill his need. Now when there are needs, there will be utilization of resource. Now when there is a utilization of the resource, needs are fulfilled, this will give birth to new needs, right? Because needs are always fulfilled in hierarchy. There is a hierarchy of need. Means what? One need is satisfied, one need is fulfilled, it gives birth to the next one, right? Now for example, if the people are, there is population living in forest, right? So tribal population, what is their need? Food. Food is the basic need. Now here they will go for hunting, food gathering, shifting, cultivation. Once this need is fulfilled, the next need arises is security. For that, this tribe may build some huts, right? They may acquire some part of the forest, modify it and convert it into a settlement. Once this is fulfilled, then there will be a social need, then there is a social setup or social organization of the tribe in that region, right? As the population grows, the tribe may get divided. There will be now a part of a tribe living in, so they distribute the area of the forest. They say this area belongs to this group, this area belongs to this group. Now there will be social interaction between now this is a social need, right? In this way, as one need is fulfilled, this is going to give rise to another. That is why we are saying the human needs are dynamic and multiplying. More you fulfill it, more they arise. Okay? So in this way, the resource consumption because of the needs have increased, and this concept of anthropocentricism became popular after 17th century, right? After 17th century, this gained popularity. Why and for whom the subject need to be studied, right? Any subject, I'm not talking about geography alone. Any subject, whether you are studying sociology or it is anthropology or it is geography or history, every subject has to, the study of every subject, the research in every subject has to benefit whom? Benefit man. Ultimate beneficiary should be man, and the condition of the man has to be improved, right? Now in that way, when you focused on this anthropocentrism, excessive anthropocentrism has resulted in what? Resulted in exploitation and over, क्या लिखेंगे, over consumption of the resource. Exploitation and over consumption of the resource. Now as over consumption of the resources has occurred, what is happening? The relationship between man and environment got imbalanced, right? If it is getting imbalanced, what is happening? The environmental degradation, and we can say it is retaliation from the environment. Now what we have done, in most of the cases, the man has crossed carrying capacity of the environment. What is carrying capacity of the environment? Correcting ability of the environment. Environment imposes some threshold, right? Some threshold, certain limit is there, right? Man can operate within this limit, right? It is fine for a man to operate within the limit, लेकिन because of anthropocentrism, what is happening? Because of anthropocentrism, there was overshoot. Overshoot means exponential utilization of the resource, and in most of the cases, man has exceeded what? Man has exceeded carrying capacity, right? Man has exceeded carrying capacity, and once the carrying capacity of the environment is exceeded, what environment will do? Environment will try to bounce back, it will retaliate back, and this retaliation will be in the form of disasters, epidemic. So if you see, most of the problem that man experiences today are the product of imbalance between man and environment. And what has caused this imbalance? The philosophy of what? Anthropocentrism. Who is most important? Is man, right? This philosophy was propagated during the industrial revolution. ये industrial revolution का time है, and this idea, this philosophy was popularized. Who is more important? Man is more important. Needs of man are more important. We should give priority to fulfillment of the human need without looking at the condition of the resource and without looking at the condition of the environment. Means by hook or crook, you fulfill the needs of people, and that led to ignorance towards the environment. And that is how we are facing today's modern day challenges. All the present challenges faced by the human societies are the product of this philosophy of anthropocentrism, right? Now what you have to do as a geographer, आपका role क्या है? What is the role of a geographer here? Is to provide what? Is to provide solution to balance relationship between man and environment. And one solution we have suggested to the world, and that will be referred as sustainable development. So this idea of sustainable development has a root in geography, though it is used in all the subjects. It is interdisciplinary. In economics also you use sustainable development, but it has emerged from geography, right? Not there. So yes, this is clear. So right there. Retaliation means, just sit down. Retaliation means environment will try to correct itself. Retaliation means it pushes back. Jaise we say environment has a homeostatic or homeostatis, it is known as mechanism. Homeostatis. What is homeostatis? It is a self-regulatory mechanism of environment, right? Self-regulatory mechanism क्या है? For example, you have a grass, right? Then there is a grasshopper, then there is a frog, and then there is snake. ये क्या चल रहा है? Food chain, right? This is a food chain. Now what is happening? If the population of these snakes is rapidly multiplying, ठीक? Now initially it is in balanced condition. The amount of grass is sufficient to grasshopper, the number of grasshoppers are sufficient to frogs, and number of frogs are sufficient for snake. ये condition of balance है, right? This is a condition of balance. Now if a snake population because of some reason is rapidly multiplying, ये क्या होगा? Overshoot. This is a overshoot, exponential growth of any entity. So if population of snakes are multiplying, this is multiplying rapidly, what will happen? They will eat away all these frogs. What is happening to this frog population now? This will become what? Extinct. And if this is becoming extinct, the population of grasshopper will multiply. This will endanger the grasses. This will eat away all these grasses. The entire ecosystem is collapsed, right? Now this environment doesn't allow to happen, right? तो क्या करेगा? There is a check and balance that is referred as homeostasis. Means when the population of the snake is multiplying, it will cause some infection, it may cause some disease by which it is brought down, it gets regulated, and all this system is kept under the state of equilibrium, state of balance, that is known as homeostasis, right? अब इसमें क्या हुआ है? This homeostasis, when it operates as a correction mechanism, will it be smooth? क्या correction smooth होगा? No, corrections are not smooth. Corrections will be harsh. Same is the condition of the man also. When man has exceeded the carrying capacity of environment, now environment is correcting itself. Now these corrections are not smooth. These corrections are harsh, and that we are experiencing as epidemic, pandemic, climate crisis, climate change, food insecurities, migration, conflicts, so and so. You name the human problem, you will find that its root lie in imbalance between what? Man and environment. As a geographer, as a modern geography, we are focusing on providing the solution to balance this relationship between man and environment. When you can provide this solution as a geographer, when you can provide this solution, when you have a complete understanding of environment, and when you have a complete understanding of how man is interacting with environment, that is the study of physical geography and human geography, right? By studying this, what you will achieve? It is you are trying to find the solution to human problems and balance this relationship between man and environment. Okay? So if you are asked like why geography, what is the role of geography, what is the application of geography? Geography is not just a subject where the things have to be memorized. Geography has a societal application. What we live in is a geographical condition. How we are is also a product of geography. How we interrelate with each other, that is also a result of geography. Our history is also a product of geographical condition. Like you talk about the ancient civilizations of the world, all the ancient civilization of the world were on the banks of rivers, like Indus Valley civilization. Wars, these were also a product of geographical access, right? How one kingdom was accessible with other, through what condition it was accessible, this has determined wars and conflict between, means expansion of territory of any kingdom. This also will depend on the geographical condition, right? So geography is the way of life, how we appear, what we think, how is our thought process, how is our behavior, all this is influenced by geographical condition. Our social setups are influenced by geographical conditions, right? People living in mountainous region, their food habit will be different. People living in coastal areas, their food habit is different. People in the plain, their food habits are different. In desert, the food habit is different. What is food habit will be determined by what is available, and what is available is determined by physical aspect or physical geography, right? That is why we say people with similar location will have a similar mode of life, right? If two populations coming from the mountainous region, their thought process also will be same, their, we can say, behavior also will be same, their social setups also will be same, right? It is geography which connects the people, right? It is geography which determines the social attributes of the population. That is why it is considered as the mother of all the discipline. You say economy determined by what? Geographical condition. What type of economic growth will be there Economic growth is determined by what resources are available. ठीक है. If it is about population, again determined by geographical condition. How people appear, their complexions, that is racial aspect of the population, this is also determined by geographical condition, right? How is the temperament of the population, psychology of the people, this also depends on the climatic conditions of that region. People who are living in mountains, now generally they are courageous. What make them courageous is day-to-day struggle, right? In mountains, life is not so easy, right? For accessing any resource, you have to struggle with environment, and a child who is born in that region starts learning from the beginning, and obviously he becomes more courageous. So people like Gurkhas, right, or those who are in from the mountainous, they are known for their courage, they are known for their, and second is they have learned that these people have, when they are struggling with the environment, they have learned that who is supreme. Who is supreme? They came to know that man is not supreme. It is what? Environment is supreme. Environment will determine. Environment is going to determine. ये पहाड़ हमारा existence determine करेगा, right? अगर ये टूट के नीचे गिर जाएगा in few seconds, right? The entire population will vanish. Means they have acceptance to the reality of life. When you have acceptance to the reality of life, that you are not permanent here, your attitude towards life will change, right? Your attitude towards life is changing, you become more honest, more loyal towards the thing. That is why people of mountains, they are known for their courage, they are known for their honesty, they are known for their loyalties, etc. But people who live on the plain, क्या होगा? On plain, there is no struggle. Accessibility is easy, right? Everything is present in proximity. This makes man more arrogant, right? They feel that we are supreme. In that way, they become more cunning, more clever, right? And we find that these people are not that courageous, right? But they are clever. They win over others through backstabbing. Now, I am not saying this, but this is a generalization that geographers have given, that how is the attitude of the people. This also is determined by the geographical condition, right? Temperament, what you are, what you think, how you think, right? This is definitely determined by what place you belong to. This is what is geographical notion about human population, right? So when you see the people, you have to first ask where you belong to, right? So when you say, now you get an identity of that place, yes, you may have the character of the population belonging to that region. So geography provides a inbuilt character to the population, right? And over a period, what humans do, humans also develop a sense of geography. Not only human, every organism has an inbuilt sense of his own area, right? Even the dogs which are there, the stray dogs which are there in our colony, they divide the colonies into their region, right? If the tiger is in the forest, it will define its own territory. It will mark on the trees, right? There will be claw marks on the tree, and that will determine that is my region. My region, in the sense you are identifying yourself with particular geographical area or geographical condition, right? So geography plays a very important role in life of humans and how they interact with their own environment. So it is said that it is womb to tomb and cradle to grave. Every aspect of man is controlled by what? Geographical conditions, right? So everything about the man is determined by geographical condition. Man can operate within the environment, but he cannot go against the geographical environment. This idea, this philosophy was established as determinism in geography. Determinism का मतलब है who determine environment, right? Who is supreme is environment, right? So if man and environment are communicating with each other, how old is man? How old is man? Man is only 1 lakh year old, 1.2 lakh year old. This is the existence of man. How old is the environment? 4.6 billion year. 4.6 billion year means 4,600 million year is the age of environment. So in front of environment, the identity of man is very microscopic, right? Man can anytime be vanished, eliminated by the forces of environment. Soon you realize this, better you will be able to balance yourself with the environment, and that will result in sustainable development, right? So this is the overall core philosophy of geography. So present day geographers look at this dimension rather than only focusing on physical or only focusing on human. They try to integrate the physical and human geography. Okay, so now I'll be starting with the first chapter of World Physical Geography. So World Physical Geography has 3 topics. This will be World Physical Geography. In this, we'll start with first. This is geomorphology, right? Geomorphology. So I'll be covering 2 topics here. One is geomorphology, 2 chapters, geomorphology and Indian physical geography. So first we'll finish with the geomorphology. So around 7 sessions to complete this chapter. Now for this topic, references will be NCERT class 11th. This is Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Fundamentals of Physical Geography. So this is first. Second is refer atlas. Third, there is one yellow book will be provided here, that is concept of geography, right? Concepts of geography. You will get 2 booklets in geography. One is concept of geography and second one will be Indian geography, right? This chapter will be in concepts of geography, first booklet, right? And this is for more factual data supplemented from the yellow book. You should not be reading or you should not depend on the yellow book for the concept, right? Here it is more about the factual information. You have to depend on NCERT, atlas, and the most important here will be your class notes, right? Class notes will be the major source of information for this particular topic. So first is class notes, then NCERT, then yellow book, and then as the topic goes on in the class, you can refer the physiographic features from the atlas. You can identify them and find their locations. Okay? So now I'm not recommending here GC Leong. GC Leong will be more important for the other 2 chapters, right? They say Manucha sir, he might have recommended GC Leong for your climatology and oceanography. So for geomorphology as such, you may not be required to thoroughly depend on GC Leong. You can go with the selective reading. So based on the topic, I will tell you what topics to be referred from GC Leong, right? There is no need, particularly for geomorphology, to go read it everything from GC Leong, right? Your requirement is fulfilled from class notes and NCERT and yellow book. This will be more than sufficient here. Yes, for other topics like climatology and oceanography, whatever sir has prescribed, that you can refer. Okay. For geomorphology, I am not recommending here GC Leong. Now, in this chapter, we'll cover the following. So, note down what are the topics that will be covered here. It is syllabus for this particular chapter. We'll follow the same sequence. Now, you should also follow the same sequence when you are reading it from NCERTs and yellow book. Okay, sequence should be same, though these chapters may not be arranged in this format, right? So, class notes are important, particularly for my classes. I am not going to give you much of the handouts, only wherever required, very limited, one or two. In entire my classes, there will be only 2 or 3 handouts altogether. That too, where the things are more factual, there you will be provided with handouts. ठीक है, class notes आपको लिखना है. Try to write and include everything that is discussed in the class. Leave some 4-5 lines at the bottom of the page so that you can upgrade your class notes when you find some additional information from NCERT or yellow book. Finally, you have to convert your class notes as a main reference so that you can revise before exam, right? Difficulty yahi rahega that if you are having multiple sources, it will be difficult for you to revise. ठीक है. Standard book, see, somebody is asking about a standard book. So, as such, don't burden yourself with unnecessary guides, right? Here, this much is sufficient for geomorphology. You can read 11th class fundamentals of physical geography. That is more than sufficient. ठीक है. So, before beginning, we will be requiring around 7 classes to finish with this topic of geomorphology and another 5 classes, 4 to 5 classes for Indian physical geography, that will be with your mapping. Okay? This is important for GS and it is important for both prelims and mains. Okay? And also equally important for the students who are going to opt for geography as a optional subject. Now you have started your preparation. Now this is the month of Feb. Your batch will end 10 months course, right? So this will end in the month of December. So December or by mid of Jan next year, we will be able to finish the entire syllabus. Now, as you know here, the pattern of classes is not a traditional pattern in the sense where the generally institutes, they start one particular subject and they have that subject going throughout, maybe for 1 month or 2 months, and then like polity is completed, then history is done, then geography is done. In that way, we don't have this pattern in Vajira. Your pattern is like every day you will have a different subject, right? इसका benefit ये है that you will be in touch with the subject as well as faculty. Now, for example, if I start geomorphology and go with the traditional approach, start geomorphology and my classes are 11 or 12. So 12 days I finish everything, right? And then after that I disappear. I am not available. I am not accessible. Now this is not going to provide you any opportunity to raise any query or doubt with the teacher, right? Now, second is you will not able to link also, because when you study Indian geography, you have to link with economy. You are also going to link with social issues. tribal issues in that way. So as society is completed to some extent, economy is completed to some extent, there will be convergence of these subjects, right? I hope you are getting this. So this will be beneficial in long run, but only issue you will be having is unlearning the previous method. जैसे अभी तक आपने जो भी पढ़ा होगा in your graduation or colleges, there your subjects are done simultaneously. Here you are having a new way of learning. Keeping the pace with the teacher is going to be difficult here. That will be challenging task. But once you get adapted to this, this is the most efficient and easiest way of completing the syllabus for both teachers as well as students. ठीक है? So you have to cope up with this. For that, abhi in the month of Feb, when you are starting, focus on completing your NCERT. Basic readings आप complete कर लीजिए. In next 2-3 months, you should get rid of your NCERT books. History, geography, polity, these are some subjects where you have to first focus and complete all the books, basic reading. One time at least you should go through all the NCERTs of these fundamental subjects. ठीक है, क्योंकि ये टाइम फिर बाद में आपको नहीं मिलेगा. What time you are getting now? You are having only one class remaining. Throughout the day you are free. That free time can be utilized for foundation of your preparation. Don't focus much because you are preparing for 2025, right? There are very less students will be there who are going to give attempt this year in this batch. So most of you are preparing for 25 or 26. So don't try to indulge yourself much into your current affairs. Abhi current affairs पे ज़्यादा focus मत करिए. I am not saying that you should completely ignore Hindu newspaper, but don't spend 2-3 hours on Hindu newspaper. Just 45 minutes to 1 hour will be sufficient. Get a glance of what is going on, right? Even if you prepare now with that depth, that will not be useful for 2025 exam. You can start focusing on the current affairs more from the month of July or August. So Feb to June or July, you have time to complete your foundation, right? Build your foundation, make your basics very strong. Okay? This you should do. Next is classes. As you are aware, I think every class starts on time, finishes on time also. Most of the classes will finish on time. I will start on time and finish on time. Okay? There should not be, you should follow the decorum of the class. This is not your college. This is not your academic institution. Don't be under the impression that you can do anything when you sit in the class, right? So this will disturb teacher. I am not talking about only my aspect, all the teachers. देखो, whoever comes to you here, whoever is teaching, most of the teachers are having sufficient experience, right? They know what to deliver, how to deliver. You are not the first batch. Okay? So you should understand that. We know that where you will get doubts, what type of doubts will be there. We are aware about that things, right? First, allow teacher to complete the topic. ठीक है? उसके बाद जब आप टॉपिक को एनालाइज करेंगे, you read it from NCERT, read it from the prescribed book, compare what is there in your class notes with the book. Then if the doubt arises, that will be more genuine, right? Then you can come to the teacher and ask the doubt. Definitely you can ask in class also, we are not denying that, but do not ask just for the sake of asking, right? Don't try to project yourself that you are different from entire class. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है, right? Forget your backgrounds, whatever you are coming from. You are coming from IIT, IIM or any other institution, that hardly matters in UPSC preparation. How you understand 6th class to 12th class NCERT is going to determine your selection here, right? whether you got in CAT 99 percentile or you are from IIM or IIT, this has nothing to do with your preparation here. You have to put equal hard work, right? Equal efforts if you want to qualify this exam, right? This is equally applicable for both online and offline students. Online students also have patience when the topic is going on. At the end of the topic, yes, you can take a liberty to post some of the queries that to be related to the topic covered in that class, right? जो आगे हो रहा है या आगे टॉपिक होगा जो आपको पता है लेकिन बाकी स्टूडेंट्स को पता नहीं है, right? Then you tend to ask the doubt of the topic that is ahead. What happens to other students? They get frustrated unnecessarily. As other students may feel inferior that हमको तो ये पता नहीं है, that fellow is asking, right? So don't do that. You should have a collective responsibility of the class, right? When you are interfering, when you are asking any doubt, right? First see that doubt is appropriate. It is asked at appropriate time. Timing of the doubt is also good, right? That you have to make a judgment of these things. ठीक है? If you don't have these things, definitely उसमें क्या होता है, most of the batches you find that they keep on interrupting the teachers in between. Teacher will lose the flow of that particular topic. Now he will become directionless. The teacher becomes directionless. The coverage of the topic also will not be proper. Then the entire topic is spoiled, right? So allow us, we are here to help you. Allow us to first complete the topic, then study that topic, right? And then ask doubt. Okay? You can come to us in the staff room also. If you are not, some students may hesitate to ask in the class. You can come to us later on after the class and ask the doubt. There is no issue in that. Okay? Have patience. That is very important. That you have to build over a period. You have entered. Now you have decided to take up the exam where only one thing will determine your success is patience, right? If you are impatient about anything in this exam, you will be eliminated, right? चाहे आप pace of preparation में you want everything to be done in a very fast pace, then also you will not be able to do it. ठीक है? So in your class when you are sitting, you have to have a patience. 2.5 hours on a chair, I can understand for this generation is difficult. You know, online student, it is still difficult because you are at your places of comfort. Online students should follow the instructions given by management related to the cameras and all that. This is already informed you when you were taking admission. So don't make the operator always to give this instruction, block you, put you in the waiting list. That will again create disturbance to the teachers, right? आपको ये simple बताया गया है कि camera should be open during the class. Just keep it open. That's it. So don't have any kind of thought in this. Nobody is going to point at you या आपका background या wall color, wallpaper. Nobody has time here to see all these things, right? We just want to see that the student is attentive, even he is studying is in an online mode, right? That is our objective. ठीक है? Patience आप रखेंगे class में. Don't in between move here and there. That is also very bad habit. And once it starts, it spreads like an infectious disease in the entire batch, and the batch gets spoiled. So don't do that. If you are, that is how you have to control yourself on the chair. Sit on the chair for 2.5 hours. Where now at this stage when you have started preparation, you are anxiety, you are stressed, right? You have lot of issues, notifications, messages, likes, dislikes, Instagram. ये सब आपका दिमाग में चल रहा है. But if you don't get rid of all this social media and all, you will not be able to prepare according to what it is required, right? So this is important. And next 10 months, once the subjects start, now we are starting, once we enter into the subjects, keeping the pace with the teacher is going to emerge as the major challenge for you. अभी तो लग रहा है कि क्लास हो रहा है, लेकिन जैसे जैसे number of classes will increase, the volume of information that will be added will be increasing. It is increasing exponentially, right? Then reading them simultaneously, revising all this content, that becomes challenging, right? So from day one onwards, if you don't keep the pace with the teacher, it is difficult for you in coming months. Okay? So sincerity, honesty, consistency, all this is required. This is the time that you are getting. This is a golden opportunity in terms of time. I am saying you are getting to remodulate your personalities according to the requirement of the exam, right? What exam requires, what UPSC require, and what you are now, right? You are getting time to reframe yourself according to what is required in every aspect, whether it is prelims, mains, personality test. आपको जो भी changes लाना है, अभी time है. But once you enter into the cycle of this exam, you will be continuously busy in prelims, then result of prelims, then mains, then result of mains, then interview. The UPSC will keep you busy throughout, right? Then you don't get this time. ये जो अभी आपको 5-6 महीने का slot मिल रहा है या 10 months का slot मिल रहा है, this you are not going to get at any point of time ahead, right? So that you do. Generally our experience is the batches we start in the month of Feb, March, April, these batches, they consist of a serious aspirants, right? Those who take admission later on, the percentage of the serious students in the batch will be slightly declining. Here majority of the students are, our experience is majority of the students in these batches are serious. We expect the same from this batch also. Your seriousness will define the efforts of the teacher, right? Teacher here, what he delivers depends on how you are in the class. I am telling you on behalf of the entire teacher fraternity of Vajiram that no other teacher will tell, but I am telling you very explicitly that how the teacher delivers in the class, right? This depends on how you are in the class. Okay? So try to extract more, try to be disciplined, try to be sincere, try to show interest in the class. See that this 2.5 hours in what you are spending in the class are most productive experience of learning, right? Convert this into experience. When you are sitting in class, let us experience the class, right? It is not just information. If you take it as an information, you will forget it. If you take it as an experience, this will be long lasting, right? This will remain intact for a longer time, right? So this will be one way. Art of learning, what you say, is experiencing the classes. Indulge yourself in the class. Indulge yourself with all consciousness in the class, right? अगर आप थोड़ा सा deviate हो जाएंगे, how is our mind? Once you are deviated from the topic, अगर आपका जो focus है हट गया है, then somewhere else it will go. By the time your mind resets on the focus, the topic is already passed out, the topic is done, then it will be very difficult for you to reorganize the content, right? That is why, so this should be there. Second important, optional, right? Optional, selection of the optional, this should be a wise decision. Start your optional preparation now, means before December, try to finish the optional subjects. Okay? If you are giving attempt in 2025, before December 2024, you should be done with the optional, whatever may be. Now, what optional to be selected? This should be based on your compatibility with the subject. whether that subject is compatible with your personality or not. So compatibility most important hai, right? Don't go with what others say, what market is saying, what is scoring, what is not scoring. Scoring and not scoring will come only when you reach what? You are reaching the score of 280. 280 के ऊपर जो मिलेगा, maybe 320, 330 like that, this will be considered as scoring. लेकिन reaching to 80 first is more important, right? Now if you are not able to reach this itself, how you can further reach ahead? So if you are selecting a wrong option, what happens? Reaching this itself becomes a difficult task, right? So selection of the optional should be a wise decision. Look at your compatibility. Don't be in hurry. You are having time. So Feb, March, April, May, June onwards, the optional classes generally will start. So in this 4 to 5 months, you can look at what subjects are more compatible. Learning GS, what type of mindset you have, है ना? Mindset आपका कैसा है? Educational background, how is your education? What is your educational background? If your mindset is, one small formula I'll give. If your mindset is logical, right, means you are a person of a type who try to raise a question and seeks answer to why, how, where, like that, ये क्या है? Logical mindset है, right? This type of candidates will have a logical mindset. For these people, what type of subjects are more compatible? Semi-scientific subjects are more compatible. You can say anthropology, it is geography also, or it can be topics matlab where there is a semi-scientific things. But you are a kind of a person who will be able to remember the information, right? You don't worry about the logic, but you try to remember. You tend to remember the content as a text, as a story, and you are able to reproduce the same, right, without thinking too much, right? Then you will be a theoretical mindset, we say. Theoretical mindset में क्या है? Subjects like public administration, sociology, political science, these are compatible with the students who are with the theoretical mindset. I am talking about mindset, not the educational background. Even with educational background, some engineers will have theoretical mindset. Their scores in mathematics in engineering was not very good, right? They have passed maths paper M1, M2, M3 giving 3-4 times also, right? So ये logical है नहीं, right? But forcefully they have completed their engineering because parents wants that they have to complete their engineering. So they still have what? Theoretical mindset. So it is about what kind of personality you are. That will be the most important criteria to decide what optional I should take, right? If you are very good in your graduation and that optionals are there in UPSC, that should be the first choice, right? अगर कोई BSc, MSc mathematics है, right? He has spent 5 years in doing math subject and from a reputed institution. For him, maths will be the most appropriate optional. If you are with BA Economics Honors, MA Economics from a reputed institution, best will be what? Take economics, right? If you are from JNU and you have done MA in history from JNU and all that, then it is best to take what? History. So when you have spent already invested 4-5 years in that particular subject, but not like external graduation or something like that, not from home, it is by a regular college, reputed institution, then you can go for that particular optional. Okay, so that should be another thing that you should look at when you are starting your preparation. Okay, so we'll start with geomorphology. Note down the syllabus of this chapter. First one, landforms and classification of landforms. Interior of earth, then endogenetic, endogenetic and exogenetic forces. Geomagnetism, geomagnetism. Then landforms created by erosional processes. Landforms created by the erosional process, right? Here we are going to study what is a fluvial landform, LF. I'll write landforms. Fluvial landform means these are the landforms that are created by flow of water, right? Then it is arid landform. Arid, these are the landforms of deserts. Landforms of deserts are arid landform. Then it is glacial landform created by glacier, and then we have karst landforms. Karst landforms, these are the region of limestone rocks. Landforms created in the region of the limestone rock, this will be referred as karst landform, limestone regions. So this 4 will do as a part of landforms. Then next is volcanism and study of earthquakes. Volcanism and earthquakes. Then number 8 is configuration of Earth's surface. Configuration of the Earth's surface. Now, configuration of Earth's surface, this is about the study of arrangement of oceans and continents. How are oceans and continents arranged on the surface of the earth, right? Oceans and continents arranged on the earth's surface. This will be surface configuration of the earth or configuration of the earth's surface. Here we have 3 concepts. One is the concept of continental drift. These are actually theories. This is of 1912 by Alfred Wegener, right? Continental drift. Then we have concept of sea floor spreading. Sea floor spreading was of 1962, given by a geologist, Harry Hess. Second one is sea floor spreading, and this was upgraded to the concept of plate tectonics. Plate tectonics is of 1967 by Jason Morgan and Tuzo Wilson. Right. So we have 3 things when you study about how is the arrangement of continent and ocean. This is explained by 3 theories. One is a continental drift. This is the earliest understanding about the configuration of the earth, surface. Now continental drift led to what? Sea floor spreading. मतलब इसके कुछ limitation थे, that was rectified in sea floor spreading, and this theory was further upgraded to plate tectonics. That is why the most scientific explanation for the configuration of the earth's surface is provided by plate tectonic. अगर आपको ये पूछा जाए what is explaining the configuration of the earth's surface, this will be the theory of plate tectonics. This you have to take into consideration because already the previous 2, that is sea floor spreading and continental drift, have been merged into plate tectonics. ठीक है, this were the past view, different opinion in the past. Now present scientific theory is the theory of tectonics. ठीक है, now these are the topics. In this you see what is important for prelims or mains. We can we identify, see, plate tectonic is the most important concept. This is important for both prelims and mains. इसमें काफी क्वेश्चंस बन सकते हैं for the mains exam also. ठीक है, this too is possibility of the question is there only in mains. They have been asking, but after 2017, last 5-6 years, the questions have not been there from continental drift and seafloor spreading. But before 2017, they have directly framed a question on this. They write a note on continental drift or explain the seafloor spreading. This type of questions were direct. Now they are more concerned about the understanding of plate tectonics. So you can get a combination of these topics. Now, earthquake and volcanism. These two topics are again very important for the prelims and mains. Prelims and mains both. This theme of these two topic is important. Landforms topic. This is important only for, ये फैक्चुअल है, लैंडफॉर्म क्रिएटेड बाय वाटर. व्हाट आर लैंडफॉर्म क्रिएटेड बाय रनिंग वाटर? क्या होगा? वैलीज, गॉर्जेस, कैनियंस, प्लेन्स, ऑक्सबो लेक, डेल्टा, एस्चुरी, टू नेम देम सम. these are factual है. All this is factual information. You should be aware about the terminologies here, right? This is only for prelims. This one is also for prelims, but this is more important. We can see this as a trending topic in UPSC, where every alternate year they have asked the question in last 4-5 years on topics related to geomagnetism. 2019 was there, 21 again it got repeated as solar flare, right? Concept of solar flare, that is related to geomagnetism. This is important. ये फैक्चुअल है. दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स. इंटीरियर ऑफ अर्थ इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर बोथ प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस, राइट? इंटीरियर ऑफ द स्टडी ऑफ अर्थ इंटीरियर, लेयरिंग ऑफ अर्थ इंटीरियर, this will be important for prelims and mains. This is basic thing, again can be only there for objective question, right? So how many topics where it is possible to identify the theme for the mains exam? एक है interior of the earth, then you have volcanism and earthquake, and then it is a concept of plate tectonic or continental drift and seafloor spreading. These are the topics where you are expected to have a content of 150 to 200 words and structuring of the answers. ठीक है? So this is your syllabus of geomorphology, first chapter. So let us begin with the basics of this chapter. So first is geomorphology. Right. So this is a branch of physical geography. So it means geo is earth and morpho is a structure and logy is to study. So what is geomorphology? It is the study of what? Structures. Now what are these structures referred as? The structures are referred as what? Structure means some form, some shape, some slope, some height. Structure means what? Landform. Study of landform is known as geomorphology. And what is a landform? Any feature on Earth's surface, feature on the Earth's surface which is composed of rock, third it has a natural origin, right? Natural origin will be considered as landform. What is a landform? Any feature that is present on the surface of the earth जो rock से बना है, right? That is made up of rock and it has evolved by which process? Natural processes. There are natural phenomena associated with the evolution of this structure. Then this will be considered as landform. And the fourth is it is a part of lithosphere, right? It is the part of the lithosphere. Okay. So how is the earth? Now this is earth. Now the earth has the outermost solid layer, right? This is the outermost solid layer of the earth. This is from 0 to how much? 100 kilometer. This is solid and this will be referred as lithosphere. So any feature which is a part of this 100 kilometer, which is a part of this 100 kilometer, and it is composed of rock made up of some created by natural phenomenon, can be treated as landform. What is lying below the lithosphere? Now this is the remaining part of interior of the earth. Now this is interior and this interior is referred as, this will be referred as geosphere. So earth can be differentiated into two parts. The outermost layer of the earth, which is composed of rock, hard, solid, that is known as lithosphere, and remaining entire region of earth's interior is referred as geosphere. The study of geosphere is referred as what? Geology, right? अब geology और geography में फर्क क्या है? Geography is focusing only on surface, right? Our focus as a geographer, we the geographers are concerned about what lies on the surface, what is happening on the surface, what is happening inside. We have a rough idea, but we are not going in detailed investigation about the interior of the earth. The study of composition and phenomenon interior is a part of what? Geology. तो हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? Whatever input is provided from geology, we are taking into consideration in geography, right? तो geologist ने जो बताया है, geologists have said that interior of the earth consists of different type of material that we are blindly following. Our work is not to verify what lies inside, right? That is done by a geologist and we are just following the information or a data that is provided by a geologist. Okay, so we got an idea. Geomorphology is about the study of landform and landform has this feature. Now another important aspect of the landform is landform has some relief, right? Landform has some relief. Now what is a relief? It has some certain elevation or height measured from a reference level, right? So from some reference level we are able to measure the variation. That also is the criteria of any landform. So every landform has a relief. Relief is what? Height, which is elevation measured from some reference level. This reference level is also referred as base level. This is also known as a base level. Okay. Now, so how is this? Suppose this is a landform here. This is the structure on the surface of the earth. Okay. Now this structure, this is a mountain. So this mountain can be treated as landform. This is a landform and this landform has certain height, right? अब ये height कहाँ से measure किया हुआ है? This height is measured from sea level. This is a reference level. Sea level is a base level. Now you say the height of this mountain is 5,000 meter. Now 5,000 meter measured from the sea level. What is this referred as? This will be referred as absolute relief, right? This is absolute relief. Absolute relief is when the height is measured from the base level, lowest base level, that is a sea level. A common area, common base level is sea level. So this is known as absolute relief. They say, you say Mount Everest. Mount Everest is how much? 8848, or you say 9,000 meter, right? Just round figure, 9,000 meter. Abhi 9,000 meter kya hai? From where? From the sea level, right? 9,000 meter is from the sea level. This is the absolute height or absolute relief of Mount Everest. But if you go into the Himalayas, right, in Himalayan region, what is happening? This can be the height, and here is the Mount. This is the Mount Everest, which is 9,000 meter. Now if you are measuring from the sea level, it is 9,000 meter. But if you measure from the nearby lowest point, right, this will be only how much? Like 1,000 meter or 2,000 meter. जो बेस कैंप होगा माउंट एवरेस्ट का, वहां से अगर मेजर करेंगे, that will be considered only 1,000 or 2,000 meter. What is this relief referred as? This is known as relative relief, right? What is relative relief? Relative relief is the height of the landform measured from the nearest low point, nearest reference level, lowest point located close by. This will be considered as relative relief. So every landform has two identities, yes or no? Right there. Absolute relief, have you written that? Absolute relief is the height of the landform measured from where? Sea level, measured. So we are talking about continental landform. So absolute relief is the height of the landform measured from the sea level, and relative relief is the height measured from nearest low lying reference level. Nearest low lying, relative relief is the height of the landform measured from nearest low lying reference level. ठीक है? So now see, here is a mountain like this. ठीक है? This is a mountain. अब देखिए, and what is this structure? This is a valley. This is a valley. ठीक? And here in this valley the river is flowing. ठीक? Now you are measuring the height of this mountain from the sea level. ये क्या है? Absolute relief. Now you are measuring the depth of the valley from the highest point. This one is what? This is relative relief. This is a relative relief. Now if I say that the valley is deepening, assume that this was the initial valley. Now what has happened to the valley here? The valley has further deepened, means valley has gone down. What the river has done? River has cut down deeper here, incision banaya hai. River has made an incision, and initially the valley was here and the valley is now here, right? So, and the height of the mountain has remained same, right? Means what? Absolute relief of the mountain has remained same, constant, unaltered. What has happened to the relative relief? Increase or decrease? Yes, online. What has happened to the relative relief? Depth of the valley has increased, means this difference from the lowest point nearby has increased here. that is increase in relative relief. So valley deepening will modify the relative relief, it will increase the relative relief. अगर ये valley deepen होता जाएगा, at one point of time you say the height of the mountain is brought down from here to here, right? Then what we are saying, the absolute relief is decreasing, right? And what about now the valley structure? Now initially the depth of the valley was increasing, right? Depth of the valley was increasing, relative relief has increased. Now this material has been, now valley has remained as it is here, right? ये जो valley है ये deepen हुआ है, relative relief has increased, but after some time the height of the mountain has decreased, hence absolute relief has decreased. What about relative relief? Relative has decreased, right? Relative relief has further decreased. Now if the valley continues to remain here and the height of the mountain is decreasing like this, what is the meaning of this? That absolute relief and relative relief both are declining, right? Are you getting this? So valley deepening will always result in increase in relative relief. Valley widening will result in decrease in relative relief. If the height of the landform, overall height of the landform is decreasing, we say the absolute relief of the landform is decreasing. Okay, note there. Valley deepening, just few points. Valley deepening has a tendency to increase relative relief. Has a tendency to increase the relative relief, while valley widening has a tendency to decrease. Valley widening has a tendency to decrease relative, has a tendency to decrease the relative relief. Okay. Now, so what we are saying here, that how is the surface of the earth? The surface of the earth consists of several such features. So the surface of the earth is non-uniform, correct? Surface of the earth is non-uniform. As we move from one location to other, we are encountering difference in relief. Yes or no? There are different landforms arranged on the surface of the earth. So there is a diversity of landform. Diversity, as we move from one location to other, the landforms keep on changing. This is the result of complexity in evolution. Complexity in evolution of the landform. How the landforms have evolved. The evolution of the landform is highly complex. Okay. So variation in the surface of the earth, non-uniformity on the surface of the earth is the result of complex evolution of the landform. Okay. Now, decrease in relative relief. Absolute relief can decline there, but we are not having a same condition always. That is why we are not writing absolute there. Only write about relative. अब देखिए, the surface of the earth has non-uniformity. This is the first principle right there. There is complexity in evolution. There is complexity in evolution of the landform. Complexity in evolution of the landform. ठीक है? Means no two landforms are identical. What is complexity or what is diversity? No two landforms are identical. Now, difference in landform can be in their relief or in their slope, right? The characteristic of a slope, the height of the landform may differ. Now, even though they are the part of same region, no two landforms are identical. Now, take example, Vindhyas and Satpuras. They are the part of same central India, but are they identical? No. Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat. They are the part of peninsular India, but are they identical? No, they are not identical. Now, what can explain us the difference between the landform? Here there is a principle. Landform is a function of structure, process and time, right? This is one of the founding principles of geomorphology, and father of geomorphology, modern geomorphology, William Morris Davies, he gave this. So landform is a function of structure, process and time. Why two landforms are not identical? Because there can be difference in their structure. Now, what is meaning of structure is a geological makeup of the landform. Geological makeup of the landform of two landform can be different. Now, you see, this is one landform A and this is another landform B. These two are different because this can be composed of igneous rock, this is composed of sedimentary rock. So this is the meaning of geological makeup. Composition of the two landform is different, right? So difference in landform is because of their rock composition, geological structure. What is a process? Difference in process. Now, landforms encounter two type of processes. One, operating from outside, this is known as exogenetic. Exogenetic process means there can be rainfall, temperature, all that is present in atmosphere that contribute to exogenetic process, and there can be difference in endogenetic processes. The two landforms have encountered difference in endo. What is endo? The forces that are operating from interior of the earth. This will be considered as endogenetic process. So endo and exogenetic process operating on the landform, we'll study about them, are different. And the third is the duration of the process, right? Duration of the process means what? Now, A is experiencing, let us say, rainfall, right? And B is experiencing glacier. क्या मतलब है इसका? The two landforms have experienced two different process. ठीक है? The evolution of A and evolution of B will be different, right? Why it is different? Because the processes are different. One is their rock structure is different. If I make this rock also sedimentary, A and B are made up of same rock, but one is experiencing rainfall, another is experiencing glacier, the resultant landform will be different. Now, if I say instead of glacier, this is also experiencing what? Rainfall. Matlab, structure is same, process is same, right? Process is also same, but this is in tropical region and this is in equatorial region. Equatorial region में रहना है. Equatorial region means the rainfall will be throughout the year, right? यहाँ पर क्या फर्क होगा? Tropical में rainfall is seasonal and in equatorial rainfall is throughout the year. There is difference in what? Difference in duration. So in this way, the two landforms can be studied, or we can differentiate between the two landforms based on three conditions. Either there is a difference in rock, or there is a difference in process endo and exo, and there is a difference in duration of the process, right? This makes the evolution of the landform complex. Now, are these three things same at all the places? No. Structure keep on changing, rock type keep on changing, the processes also will change, right? Processes are uniformly present on the surface of the earth, yes or no? Yes, but are the process uniform? Uniformly present, matlab all the latitude we experience the exogenetic process, but the type and intensity of exogenetic process will not be same. Equatorial region, it is rainfall. As we move toward the pole, the intensity of rainfall goes on decreasing. Toward the polar region, we are having glacier. In mid latitude, somewhere it is dry condition. In this way, the process will differ from one latitude to other. Thus, the landforms are also not same, right? This is indicating the complexity of landform. So this is the first principle what we have written. Landform is a function of structure, process and time. One question was asked previously on this topic in prelims. Now we can explain landform as a function of endogenetic and exogenetic force, right there. Landform is a function of endogenetic and exogenetic forces. Endogenetic and exogenetic force. Okay. Now, see here. This is the surface of the earth, outer layer, and we will consider this as crust. Outer layer of the earth is crust. Now inside is geosphere. What is happening? There is some force which is operating from interior of the earth, right? This will be referred as endogenetic force, right? Endogenetic force has its origin in interior. This endogenetic force is impacting crust. Okay. Now, is endogenetic forces equally present at all the places? No, there is non-uniformity of endogenetic force. Now, at this location, let us say A, the endogenetic force is more frequent, and this location B, the endogenetic force is less frequent, right? Means what? How is location A? Location A is experiencing more earthquake, more volcanoes, more tsunamis in this way, while an intensity is also high, and B is experiencing less intensity and less frequency. Means what? Which is more stable, A or B? B is more stable. This is known as crustal stability, right? What is crustal stability? Crustal stability is determined by what? Frequency and intensity of endogenetic force. More frequent and more intense, what happens? This is unstable, right? Less is the frequency, less is the intensity, this will be more stable. Note there, crustal stability of a region. Crustal stability of a region is determined by frequency and intensity of endogenetic force. Frequency and intensity of endogenetic force. Okay. So this location A is unstable because the intensity of the endogenetic force is high, frequency is high. Now what is the role of endogenetic force? When endogenetic force is impacting the crust, what is happening to the crust? The part of the crust will get modified. This is going to create a structural irregularity. Means what? Some change is there, some modification is brought by the operation of endogenetic. this will result in some rise, a vertical upliftment of the landform, vertical we can say movement of the crust, and there is a formation of some structure, and this is the birth of what? Landform. So endogenetic forces are primarily responsible for structural, or we can say vertical irregularity, right? Some feature it will create. Let us say a volcano has erupted here. क्या होगा? The magma which is coming out, the hot material comes out, accumulates over a period, and there is formation of one mountain. ये क्या है? Structure है. This structure has been a result of volcanism. Volcanism is what? Endogenetic. अब क्या है? On this there is action of which force? Exogenetic force. Now what is exogenetic? Which is having origin outside, right? Origin outside. The tendency of the exogenetic force is to reduce what? Reduce the relief. इसका tendency क्या होगा? Is to bring down this, right? And if it is reducing the relief, means what? The tendency is to cause degradation, degradational tendency. The tendency of exogenetic force will be to bring down this, modify both the relief, what? Absolute as well as relative, दोनों को कम करता जाएगा, and it will convert that area into what? Flat, right? Make it uniform. The tendency of exogenetic force is to convert that area into a flat surface, right? Therefore, exogenetic forces are also referred as what? Leveling force. So, what type of forces are acting on the crust? There is endo and there is exo. Endogenetic force results in vertical structure, irregularity, and exogenetic is having a tendency to bring down and convert it into flat. Now if I say this endogenetic and exogenetic force are operating with the same intensity, क्या होगा? Yes, what will be the result of these two forces operating with the same intensity? The surface will be flat. There will be uniformity of the surface of the earth if these two forces are operating in equilibrium. But are these two forces operating in this way? No, there is an imbalance in endo and exo, and this imbalance is the reason for identity of any landform. So therefore we are writing endogenetic. So landform is a function of interplay, competition between endogenetic and exogenetic force. How strong is endo and how strong is exo? This is going to determine the condition of that place, right? So these two are not operating with the equal rate. जैसे example देखिए, if there is a volcanic eruption here, क्या होगा? A volcanic eruption will create a structure. Now volcano has erupted for 1000, 2000, 3000 like this. For 10,000 year volcanic eruption has operated. In this 10,000 year, it has created 1500 meter height of a volcano or height of mountain. So 1500 meter landform is a product of volcanism operating for how much? 10,000 year. This becomes rate of operation of which force? Endogenetic, है ना? ये rate of operation of endogenetic है 10,000 year. Numbers are just for understanding. 10,000 years volcanic eruption हुआ है, and this has resulted in one mountain of 1500 meter. ठीक है? Now if I say exo is operating on it, this is temperature, rainfall, rivers, all they start operating, and what they will do? They will bring down the height of this. Now it takes exactly same time to bring down this and make it what? Flat. then this will be considered as endo is equal to what? XO. लेकिन क्या ऐसा हो रहा है? Now, to bring this landform to the base level, to bring this landform to a sea level or make it flat, this may take 10 million year, right? Means which process is a slow process? Exogenetic process is a slow process. Rate of endogenetic is always greater than rate of what? Exogenetic. The degradation of the landform is a slow process. Right there. Degradation of landform. Degradation of the landform is a slow process. Right? So what we are seeing at the surface of the earth, look at the surface of the earth. At all the places there is operation of exo, right? But the landforms are not same. Why landforms are not same? The identity of the exogenetic forces at all the places is not uniform. The intensity of exogenetic force keep on changing. This is explaining us the diversity or non-uniformity of Earth's surface. So what we got here is landform is a function of endo and exo, and second, landform is a function of structure, process and time, right? This becomes the two fundamental principles that explains us the non-uniformity of Earth's surface, right? These are considered to be important laws of geomorphology. How we analyze the surface of the earth? We analyze the surface of the earth based on these two principles. Okay? Now, landforms are different. They are diverse. They are varying. Every landform is characterized by, जैसे you have, this is one landform. तो इसका क्या है? There is a relief, correct? Then there is one more landform. This is also having a relief. Then there is a valley between the two. ये भी क्या है? This is also a relief, right? There is a valley because all this is a elevated structure, and this is a sea level. This is a sea level. So this valley is also what? Having some elevation. That is why this valley is also considered as landform, right? What it is? It is absolute relief or relative relief. Now compared to this, it will be relative relief. Compared to this, it will be absolute relief. Okay, it will be in this way. So this is a mountain which is having different type of landform, or region this is having different type of landform, different relief feature, and because of this different relief feature, there is non-uniformity between the two location, and this is referred as, what is this? This will be referred as topography. When I say topography of a region, topography of a region means what? Arrangement of the landform in that region. Yes. Relief. Now, so here, see, this is one landform. I'll write it as L1, which has a relief R1, right? Iska height hai R1. This is another landform L2, which is a valley. Okay? Valley is also what? Landform, because no valley will lie exactly at the sea level. कुछ ना कुछ तो variation होगा. So that is why it is considered as a landform L2 with relief R2. This is L3 with R3. This is L4 with R4, and this is R5. Different landforms of the same region, right? If you observe the height from one location to other, the height will not be same. There is non-uniformity of surface created by difference of relief, and this non-uniformity is referred as topography. So you say topographical condition. Topographical condition means how is the variation in height between the two location. You say topography of peninsula, topography of Deccan Plateau. Topography of Deccan Plateau means variation in height. ठीक है? Not there. The difference of height between the two locations. Difference of height between the two locations caused by multiple relief features. Caused by multiple relief feature is known as topography, right? अब देखिए, four concepts we have. First one is landform. What is landform? Any structural feature present in the location made up of rocks is considered as landform. So landform will have height, it will have slope. Second is relief. What is relief? Identity of the landform. Height measured from reference level. Don't say sea level, reference level, because not always we will use sea level there. Reference level. So there are two type of relief, absolute and relative. Okay. Then we have topography. Topography is between the two location. How is the variation in the elevation? That will be known as topography. So they say you talk about the Ganga plain, right? What we say about Ganga plain? The topographical variations are minimum. Means what? It is flat, right? Topographical variations are minimum. Means what? It is a flat surface. If there are more topographical variation, means what? More variation in height. So this is the third concept, topography. Now if there are multiple landforms present in the same region, combination of several landforms created by same or multiple processes, this will be referred as landscape, right? There is a landscape, concept of landscape. You say desert landscape, right? अब ये desert है, so this is the region of desert. How it is? This is a large area. In this large area, at this place there is a sand dune. ठीक है? At this place there is a barchan. Here there is some mushroom rock. There is a sand bar in this region. There is another sand dune here. There is a loess here. ये क्या है? There are different landforms present in same area, right? This together will be referred as landscape. So we say desert landscape, arid landscape, mountain landscape. So Himalaya is what? Landform or landscape? Landscape. Therefore we use the word landscape. Landscape means spread over large area and has a combination of different relief features or landform. Note there, the combination of different relief features spread over large area is referred as landscape. Next point. Landscapes can have multiple landforms. Landscapes can have multiple landforms created by homogeneous or heterogeneous processes. ठीक है? मतलब they can have multiple features, not necessarily created by only one process. Now you say this is the region of Himalayas. अब इसमें क्या है? the ranges of Himalayas can be considered as individual relief feature, right? And this becomes what? Landscape. But these Himalayas are created by which force? Endogenetic force. But in between you are having some valley, then there is some waterfall, there is some gorge, there is some canyon. All these are created by which process? River process. So there is a river process operating, endogenetic process operating. So it is not necessary that a landscape can have features created by same process. Multiple processes might have contributed in shaping that particular region. Okay? So landforms are diverse. Thus, in order to make a scientific study of landform, we need classification. Right there, classification. What is difference between, somebody is asking here, landform and landscape? Individual unit will be treated as landform. Combination of multiple landform is known as landscape, right? But here the geographical area should be large. It occupies a significant part on the earth's surface, that will be treated as landscape. Okay? No, it's not like that, because every feature, just say mountain landscape will occupy a different area, desert landscapes are different. We look at the homogeneity of the conditions of climate generally. Okay? Sit down, sit down. What? होमोजेनस, जैसे एरिड है, होमोजेनस प्रोसेस क्या है इसमें? ये जो सैंड बार बन रहा है, बारचन बन रहा है, सैंड ड्यून बन रहा है, all this is created by the process of wind. It is a wind action. What is common operating force that has created all these landform in a desert? Is the wind, temperature and movement of air, which is transporting the sediment and depositing from one location to other. You'll see that homogeneity of the process का मतलब ये है that one particular phenomenon has created multiple landforms in that region. Yes. That's what we are saying. When you talk about Himalayas, we say Himalaya is a landscape. अगर एक इंडिविजुअल रेंज ले लेते हैं हिमालय का, take Pir Panjal range of Himalaya, that can be treated as landform. Kashmir Valley can be treated as landform, right? Landscape has a topography, right? So it is nothing but a variation in height. Suppose you consider this is the region of, this is the Himalayan ranges, right? इस तरह से है, this is Himalayas. Now it is Trans Himalayas, Greater Himalayas, Middle Himalaya and Shivalik. तो इसमें जो नॉर्दर्न मोस्ट रेंज है काराकोरम है, राइट? अब ये जो काराकोरम का हाइट है, that will be considered as a relief of Karakoram. Now if I take two locations from here to here, let's say from Tibet to, let us say, UP in India, और यहाँ से यहाँ तक अगर हम height measure करते जाएंगे, what you'll find? There will be lot of variation. That is known as topography of Himalayas, right? Topographical variation मतलब एक end से दूसरे end तक किस तरह से height change हो रहा है, that will be considered as topography. Obviously it is an indication of relief. ठीक है? If I say that there are many major topographical variation, मतलब there are lot of difference in landform between the two locations. ठीक है? Multiple relief feature means multiple landforms of that region. Landform is a function of endo and exo. What is explanation for this? Landform is a function of endo and exo means there is always a competition between endogenetic and exogenetic force. Exogenetic force will try to reduce the height, endogenetic force will try to increase the elevation, right? So these two forces are always operating in competition with each other. What dominates? What dominates is going to determine the nature of landform at that given point of time. जैसे see here, suppose I say there was operation of endo, तो ये endogenetic force से क्या हुआ है? There is one mountain coming into existence. ठीक है? Now the height of the mountain is established. Now endo is continuing to operate. क्या होगा? The height of the mountain keep on increasing. ठीक? So this endogenetic force, assume that it has operated for 20 million year, and the height of the mountain went on increasing. Now this region have also experienced what? It has experienced rainfall. Now once there is rainfall, the water will flow from this, right? Because there is height, the rivers will originate and flow into the ocean, right? What this river will do? They will transport the material, means these rivers are acting as which force? Exogenetic force, and they will try to cut down these valleys. And as the valley, now initially the depth of the valley will increase. If endo is operating, endo continues to operate, valley deepening will occur. There will be increase in what? Relative relief, and absolute relief also continues to increase. At one point of time, if I say that this is slowing down, right? ये अगर slow हो गया, the river dominates now. What the river will do? River will cut down this, then cut down this, and it will try to bring this landform and make it what? Flat, right? This is a dominance of which force? Exogenetic force. In this way, how these two forces are competing with each other, this is going to determine the identity of landform, right? I have just introduced, we will be discussing in detail. I am just trying to make you acquaint about these terms. What is endo and exo? Right there, classification of the landforms. Rainfall is exogenetic. All that is outside, all that is originating outside the earth will be considered as exogenetic. Temperature, everything that originates in atmosphere is what? Exogenetic. Everything that is a part of insolation is what? Exogenetic. Insolation, incoming solar radiation. ठीक है? इसमें क्लैरिटी है. एक्सो मीन्स outside, and exogenetic forces are present throughout the surface of the earth. Yes or no? Exogenetic forces are present throughout the earth's surface. The intensity of exogenetic forces is uniform. Present throughout, ये तो correct है ना? Because there is atmosphere at all the places. Atmospheric phenomenons are there at all the places, but intensity same hai? No, intensity varies latitudinally. As we move from equator to pole, the intensity of exogenetic forces keep on changing. What is determining the intensity of exogenetic force? What determines the intensity of exogenetic force? Condition of climate, right? What is the climatic condition? This will determine type of force and intensity of force. जैसे arid climate, arid मतलब desert climate, क्या होगा? What is the force there? Temperature. Temperature is the force, and that becomes the intensity of the force also. Rainfall will not be there. If it is a polar climate, yeah, glacier will be the force. If it is a tropical humid, means what? Temperature and rainfall will be the force. ठीक है? So gravity is also considered as a universal force, right? Universal force, and it is what? Exogenetic or endogenetic? Endogenetic, but has an influence on all the material that is present on the surface of the earth. We'll see, don't worry about these things. just an introduction right there. Classification of landforms. We classify the landforms in two ways. Number one is based on their size, how much area they occupy on the surface of the earth, and second is origin or genesis, what has caused the landform, birth of the landform. ठीक है, size of the landform, this will be known as order of landform. Size का मतलब order, we indicate it as order, so it is first order landform or second order, third order. So in this way you can have numerous orders. ठीक है, what is first order? First order, these are the largest features present on the surface of the earth. क्या है? Surface of the earth पे what is the first differentiation we see when you look at the surface? This will be in the form of continents and ocean. Continents and oceans are considered as first order. अब आपको continent मिला है, let us say continent of North America. Now what is the feature that is largest on the continent? That will become second order. This is a fold mountain. जैसे you have here the mountains like Rockies, Andes, Alps and Himalayas. These are the largest mountain chains of the world which are classified as second order. ठीक है, so सबसे large division जो है that is continent. On continent the second largest feature we are encountering is fold mountain. Now after that there can be further like formation of a plateau. This is Tibetan plateau, a large area, right? Then there can be valleys, hills. Now even it can come to a small mound of rock also. So as we move fourth order, fifth order, sixth order, जैसे आप जाएंगे, here what happens? The size of the landform will go on decreasing. ठीक है, so remember here, first these two are important. First order means continent and ocean. But here we are not concerned about. In geomorphology, what is important? In geomorphology, we are only concerned about ocean, kya? Bottom, right? Basin. We are not concerned about what happens to water in the ocean. How water is moving, what is a tide, what is the ocean current, that will be a part of oceanography. But in geomorphology, we are concentrating on what are the features of ocean floor, जैसे islands, ridges, trenches, that will be the point of concern in geomorphology. ठीक है, so continent and ocean, fold mountain, then other feature. Now based on origin, we can classify the landforms into three. How the landforms came into existence? This will be by the process of cooling of the crust, right? The first landforms on the surface of the earth were created by cooling of the crust. Crust is the outermost layer and it was not formed uniformly, right? The formation of the crust itself was what? Uneven. That created the first landform. We'll see how it was created. Then there was, or landforms are the result of what? Endogenetic. Endogenetic is creating the landform. ठीक है. Now can we say landforms are also a product of exogenetic force? Yes or no? Primary function of exogenetic force is to degrade. लेकिन जब ये degrade करेगा, some material is removed, somewhere it has to be deposited, and in the process of operation it creates certain feature on the surface of the earth. So exogenetic force also has a tendency to create the landform, but their natural tendency is to destroy. But the byproduct of exogenetic force is the landform. Just say there is a formation of a valley. What is this? Valley is created by exo, river valley hai. Pass is created by exogenetic, gorge is created by exogenetic. Now you talk about the landforms in desert. Most of the landform in desert are the result of what? Exogenetic. The wind action has resulted in sand dunes, barchans, sandbars, etc. Okay. So landforms based on the origin has three conditions. First is cooling of the crust, endogenetic and exogenetic. Based on the size, they are classified as first order and second order. Third, fourth also is there, right? This is about the classification. Okay. So fundamental thing what we have learned is the surface of the earth is what? Uneven, non-uniform. This non-uniformity is because of diversity of landform. Evolution of the landform is complex, and landform is a function of endogenetic and exogenetic force. Right. This is the basic thing we have dealt today. Now next class will be important. We will be entering into the main topic. We will learn about what is endogenetic forces. Now we'll see how endogenetic is related to earthquake and all that. Yes. Exo is degradational, no? So division, denominator. William Morris Davis. We'll see this. We'll see about the cooling of the crust next class. Okay, all these topics what you are asking, online students, they are all ahead. Fine. So we'll meet in next class.